Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday morning. I hope you are doing well and enjoying hopefully a quiet and relaxed morning this Monday after Easter. I know a lot of you, especially those of you in church ministry, had a very full day yesterday, and so I'm hoping you had just an amazing Easter with your churches, with your family, with your friends, lots of great Easter egg hunting and things like that. We had actually a pretty cold Easter, so everything was inside for us, but a great day all around. So fun to be with you all, fun to jump into 9-Minute Monday. And today I want to talk a bit about culture. You guys know this is a conversation or a topic that I am pretty passionate about, because I think when leaders understand the significance of creating cultures where your volunteers are thriving and are engaged, we are able to see extraordinary results. And I think a lot of times you can take a team that might lack some training and some development, but if you can create a great culture that is helping develop them and train them, you can have an extraordinary team that far exceeds your expectations sometimes. And so we as leaders are the owners of culture. And I recently did a talk for an upcoming conference about 4 keys for creating a thriving culture. And I wanted to hit one of those for you today, kind of to dive into this idea of what does it take to create great culture. I get the question a lot from leaders that they're like, okay, I get it. I get that culture matters. I get that I need to spend some time with culture, but what does that actually mean? And with all the busyness of things that we have going on around us, it can be pretty challenging to figure out how to actually create great culture. So today I want to talk about one thing that we as leaders can do to create extraordinary cultures for both our volunteer teams, for our staff team, whatever your team looks like. And I think this is an important little side note on the topic of culture as well, is that for you as a leader, whether you are in the senior position of the organization and you're responsible for setting the overall tone and culture, or whether you are leading maybe a team of volunteers, division of staff, running a division of your organization or your company, that you still have responsibility for the culture of your team. So whether your culture overall is really great or really poor, you can own the culture of your specific team. And so I want you to feel some responsibility and some ownership to say, whether I have a great culture throughout the entire organization, I can own what happens with my team, and I can devote myself to creating a great culture within my specific team. And that's the piece that I think is so critical for you to understand, and this is the key point I want you to hear today, is that you need to devote time, energy, and resources to creating and maintaining culture. That you as the leader need to devote time, energy, and resources to creating and maintaining great culture within your team. And this can be a little challenging to do, because you all have full jobs, you have full list of responsibilities, a task list that is probably a mile long. And so the idea of having time to devote to the proverbial fluffy stuff of organizational life just, feels like a luxury you don't have time for. But in fact, I think it's the very thing that can be the differentiator for your team. And so if we want to create a culture where volunteers or where staff are thriving, we're going to have to dedicate time and energy towards it. It's just going to have some of our commitment, because ultimately our actions speak louder than our intentions. And again, leaders, this is something we've really got to own, is that our actions speak louder than our intentions. So our actions have to demonstrate that culture matters to us, that the environment we create for our teams matters. And the only way we can do that is to make sure we're dedicating time, energy, and resources to culture keeping. And I think this is one of the big perspective shifts that I see a lot of leaders struggling with, that our best work is actually done through others. This is kind of a perspective shift that you have to embrace in order to make culture keeping a key part of your work as a leader is that you really have to see that your best work is done through others rather than just doing the work. And for most of you, you were promoted into positions of leadership because you could be relied on to get stuff done. So the thing that got you to the place of leadership is now the thing that you have to be willing to let go of in order to create the cultures and to pour into your volunteers or your staff in the way that they need you. But it's a perspective shift. It's a mindset shift that you have to make as a leader to recognize, you know what, my best work is actually done through others than by doing the work myself. So you have to actually value something very different. So that's just a little nugget to kind of hold on to in this conversation, because in order for you to value culture and the way we need you to value it to create environments that we're going to thrive and want to be a part of, you're going to have to value something different. Because if you only focus on tasks, you're not going to give the time and energy to culture that you need to. So it's a little preemptive note there. In the book Culture Code by Daniel Coyle, he shares 3 skills that create great culture within our teams. And so these are the 3 things that I want you to think about this week when it comes to creating culture within your staff. And for those of you, especially on ministry staff, this is a great week. Everybody is tired, excited because they probably had a great weekend with Easter, but they're a little tired. And so this is a great week to spend a little bit of time on culture. And the first thing Daniel Coyle talks about in his book is that we need to build belonging and connection. Build belonging and connection. And you guys get this. Characteristics of teams that feel that where belonging and connection happen are teams that feel like family, right? Where they feel like family. They want to get to know one another. They want to spend time with each other. They have empathy for one another, and they feel like they're known and that they're seen. And you guys know what this feels like, to be a part of a team where you just feel like you belong. That's culture. That's creating that environment of belonging and connection. So as the leader, how are you creating these moments? How are you creating these moments of connection and belonging so that your team really have that sense that I belong here. I'm a part of this. And you can foster this. One of the key things that I had to learn often the hard way, and I have to keep a lot of focus on, is that I have to slow down to see people. Because I'm so driven, because there's so much that I want to accomplish, I will race through things and race by people in pursuit of all those tasks, back to that perspective shift that I talked about. In pursuit of all the things that I need to get done, I will miss people and I will miss moments of connecting with them. That is just a simple thing like slow down to see them, look them in the eye, connect with them, pay attention to what's going on in their life and their world. And so just those couple extra minutes of creating connection creates a sense of belonging that help shape a culture that your volunteers and your staff are going to enjoy being a part of. So even if it's, just key moments in staff meeting before you jump into everything you need them to know and everything you need to communicate, that you create moments of connection, maybe that you tell stories, that you share what's going on in one another's lives, if you're in a faith context, if you're praying together, just all these different moments that can be just a few minutes of a staff meeting, can just be a few seconds as you're walking through the office and you pause to check in on somebody. Those are those moments that create connection and belonging. And for those of you that this comes a little naturally to, I would love for you to just chime in the comments and let us know what works for you. How do you create moments of connection and belonging? Because if I'm honest, this is one that I have to do a lot of work on, and I bet a lot of you this comes much more naturally. So we'd love to hear your thoughts on how you create those moments of connection and belonging. The second thing that we need to do as leaders in creating a great culture is share vulnerability, right? That we are open and honest with our team members, that we apologize when we make a mistake, or maybe we forget to communicate something important that they needed to know, that we just are honest and will share that with some vulnerability. That goes so far in helping our volunteers trust us and respect us. And so sharing those moments of vulnerability is so key for healthy team cultures. And then the third thing I want you to think about this week is establishing purpose. Do they know why they're there? Does your team know why they're there? Not that you just assume they know why they're there, but they really know why they're there. Have you told them lately how they're connected to the big picture? Do they understand the why? Do they recognize that their role, however big or small it might be, really is connected to the bigger picture of the vision and mission of your organization? And, just these 3 simple things can go so far in helping create that culture that your team really wants to be a part of. So this week, the 3 things I want you to think about when it comes to creating great culture. Seek to create moments where people feel a sense of belonging and are connected. Share vulnerability, be vulnerable, be honest, build that trust through that mechanism. And then 3rd, establish purpose. Make sure your team really understand why they're there, how they're connected, and why they matter to the big picture of the organization. So that's that. Creating a great, healthy, thriving culture starts with you. You've got to devote time, energy, and maybe even some resources to it. But if you'll start with those 3 things, connection and belonging, vulnerability, and a shared purpose, you're going to see your culture start to shift, and a culture where your team is proud to be a part. So, hoping you guys have an amazing week. Thank you all so much for the ways you're leading and serving and building great teams and living out great mission within your organizations. Send us your comments or questions. Just put those in the comment section. We want to know what questions you have. That'll help shape content moving forward because we want to know what matters to you. So put those in the comments and then share this with a friend, somebody who you think would enjoy 9-Minute Monday. We would love for them to know about it and be connected with us as well. So have an amazing week. Keep leading well, and we'll see you next week.